which is what it is. And that's why evangelism is pretty much rejected, and that's why they get so angry about it.
It's rejected by atheists like yourself.
It's rejected by the vast majority of Christians.
Well, that's because most Christians are false Christians who don't acknowledge the truth of Calvinist Christianity.
See, oh man, how many no true Scotsmen? I like that. So,
well, Christianity does actually propose like who's a true believer and who's not.
We'll set it for once and all. Okay, I'm going to expose this guy. For
there you go. There you go. There's my buddy. How you doing?
Matt Gruber, I have to say, this was a wonderful call, a wonderful conversation. I think you're having a lot of fun here, and I'm glad that you chimed in. We would like to move on to just one more if JL, IX, and Peter, y'all have time to speak with Barthologist Plus for a few minutes.
Yeah, we could jump on. Dude, Matt Gruber, hats off to you, dude. That was hilarious. Thank you.
Thank you for the entertainment.
Yeah, I like that as well. That was cool.
Any last word, Matt Gruber?
Kick him off this stage. Get him out of here.
Okay.
Server mute him.
I'm gonna give you I'm gonna give you one more chance for the 5th time.
That was brilliant. Okay. So, bringing on to our stage now is just one more we can squeeze in here. Barthologist Plus. TM. That's trademark pending, not a registered trademark. I guess you're aware of our subject here. Sorry, Barthologist, you're aware of our subject is to convince one of us that a god or goddess exists. Welcome.
Okay. Oh, what kind of evidence would you like?
Convincing evidence?
Convincing evidence?
Well, what deity do you want to present to us? A goddess, a god, a combination of them?
Sufficient.
Well, we can go over this. We can go over the Big Bang because it's a theory that mostly people believe, which has scientific consensus. There is no other theory that can stand next to it. So I'd love to go over what you guys believe in the Big Bang that makes it true.
It's the prevailing cosmology.
Believing in something doesn't make it true.
It's the prevailing cosmological model that has the best evidence for it.
I have an important question here. Which Big Bang are you talking about? Because apparently there were multiple.
When I look up Big Bang in the Wikipedia, there's only one theory.
Okay, Wikipedia is out of date. Penrose and Hawking updated the theory of the Big Bang to support multiple Big Bangs in order to coincide with quantum physics.
So we're talking about the beginning of the observability of our universe, which is essentially what the Big Bang was. It's where our universe began to be measurable. So that's all we're talking about. If you're talking about something before that event, then it's a big question mark for me. But as far as from the beginning of the observability of our universe, the Big Bang cosmological model is where the evidence ports out. And so that's why it's the prevailing model.
Yes, it's a prevailing model because all the facts that we know in science they made a story. They fall in line with this story that they created, which is the Big Bang, right? And they didn't make a story. They looked at the evidence and they formed a model. That model can be testable. It's a model that can make predictions. Those predictions come true. They're highly accurate. And is included in everything that we observe. So it's not a story, it's a model. It's a predictive model, just like orbital mechanics, so on and so forth. Yeah, but there's a lot of contradictory things within this model.
No, there isn't.
Well, let's read it.
There's not contradictory things in it. There were contradictory things in it. We wouldn't use it as a model.
Well, the observation... that farther away
let him list one of the contradictions.
Yeah, I'll explain it to you. The faster it's moving away from Earth, the expansion, the cosmic expansion backwards in time, using the known laws of physics, meaning known laws, the theory describes an increasingly concentrated cosmos proceeding by a singularity in which space-time lose meaning. So now, the question usually comes up with atheists is, how does God sit outside of space-time, but yet this theory itself says it stands outside of space-time? So Why is it that you believe it in this theory, but then the theory of God you have an issue with? It's a contradiction when it's God.
No,
but
because,
it's not
because
a contradiction.
Because the Big Bang cosmological
evidence for this one.
Because Barth, the Big Bang cosmological model makes no assertions as to what was before what we call the Big Bang. The singularity is a mathematical extrapolation of what potentially happened before, what potentially was before it, drawing the mathematics back. But the problem with the singularity at that point, when you get to that level, things begin to break down. And you get to a point where space and time are not like space and time we know now. So these things become essentially just mishmash all into this one point. But that's a mathematical extrapolation. We can't say for certain if the singularity is something that actually existed. There are hypotheses to these, but we discussed this when we were discussing this with the previous person that was up here. There are hypotheses as to what could possibly be, and there's a lot of evidence to support particular hypotheses as to what was the cause of the expansion event. But the jury is still out. So the Big Bang cosmological model starts from the Big Bang going forward and doesn't make any assertions about what potentially could be before it, about what is that, just what we've extrapolated them to possibly be.
Yeah, no, which is perfectly fine, but you do realize you're making excuses for this theory and saying that
I'm just not adding. No, I'm not. I'm just not adding anything to it that's not supported by evidence.
Well, how is this observable evidence?
What do you mean?
We can't.
So we have the microwave background radiation, which is evidence for the Big Bang. Do you have anything close to that? Something we can observe and measure.
The CMB.
Hold on, I wasn't finished. Do you have anything close to that? Something that we can observe and measure for your God?
Well, you just sound like theists from the 1600s now. You're starting to say, oh, is there a better definition of how everything is? Because we don't know anything else to be.
I mean, that's not remotely what I asked. That's not remotely what I asked. I said we have evidence for the Big Bang in that we see the microwave, we can measure the microwave background radiation. My question to you is, do you have anything remotely similar to that for your God?
Oh, okay. You're basically telling me that I have to scientifically prove God now? Is that where you're going?
It would certainly
help. Not what I said.
Well, because that's exactly what you said. You said you could scientifically prove this CMB, and now you want me to have that same like.
Does your God perform miracles?
Of course he does.
Does your God perform miracles?
Yeah.
Okay. So
just like the miracle of the Big Bang.
We're getting in the weeds.
That means he interacts with
Peter, stop. We're getting in the weeds. Peter, we're getting in the weeds. We're getting in the weeds. Going down the miracle train that's getting in the weeds. Flat out, this is God of the gaps. This is straight up God of the gaps. We don't know what came before. He's asserting that's God. It's an unfalsifiable hypothesis.
Yeah.
It can be rejected because there's no evidence to support it. It can be rejected out of hand. Done and done.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying about the Big Bang belief. Also, that it's just
not
a model.
It's not. There's evidence for that.
Not a belief.
It's not a belief. It's the cosmological model. It's the current prevailing cosmological model. Models can change when we get more evidence to improve them, and they make better predictions. Novel testable predictions is one of the key things. T-Jump brought it up earlier. So the problem is that when you insert God into the gap before the Big Bang, like what occurred before, or whatever, when you insert God into that, it doesn't explain anything. It doesn't give us any ability to predict anything further, so it doesn't advance the model any, and it's actually a stopgap because it stops further inquiry with just God did it. So it doesn't work. At best, you can get to deism, but even that you can just reject because it's unfalsifiable, and we don't accept unfalsifiable hypotheses. So it's still God of the gaps.
Yeah. So it's not that you guys don't have the facts. It's that you're just not convinced of anything that you've been presented with, correct?
Convincing evidence, yes.
Yeah. So you've been given the evidence of
and the evidence is the evidence is insufficient.
And you want to prove that scientifically, and you know that God is metaphysical. So you're switching back and forth.
How do you know that God is metaphysical? They never said God is metaphysical in the Bible. Or is that an argument that's made up to come up with? That was an argument that came later because people started asking questions, so they had to move God into the metaphysical category to account for the fact that it cannot be accounted for in our universe.
It sounds like you're saying the same thing about this Big Bang model.
I'm not, because there's evidence for that. It's predicated on evidence.
No, because you have a bunch of facts around this model that are true. It doesn't mean because you bunch them all together and put them in a bag that it makes it true.
That's not the way that works. Barth, that's not the way that works. That's not the way novel testable predictions work. That's not the way that works.
It says it right in here.
Barth, you are proposing the God of the gaps. That's what you're proposing. There is no evidence to support that. There's no evidence to support putting God into that slot. I don't even believe in the Big Bang, to be honest with you. Like, this is all just like, I feel like I have to go to college and become an astrophysicist to have these types of conversations, because it's cosmology. Cosmology is an extremely complex field. So is astrophysics, which is why not everybody on the planet is an astrophysicist. Yes, you're asking very base questions about very complex fields.
Yeah, so they're basically telling you that you're not smart enough to have this conversation.
That's not true. You don't know how I'm not an astrophysicist, and I understand this stuff.
Yeah, but most of the world doesn't. Most of the world doesn't.
That's their problem, not mine.
It doesn't change the facts.
It doesn't change the facts. I went and I did the work and I learned it. So did most of the people up here. That's for everybody to choose to do.
I'm trying my best to pick up on these things, but at the same time,
can I ask you a question?
Quantum physics,
Arth?
even in the quantum world.
Can I ask?
Mark, in the quantum world,
can I ask you a simple question?
Peter, can you let him finish first and then ask?
Even in the quantum world, you're saying things could be in a superposition here and there, right? And that's allowable. We know that in the moment of us measuring something, that's when all the particles are in those places, and we say, all right, at this very moment when we measure it, it is there. But once we get the measurement out, the particles or this quantum level could just be floating around in any sort of formation that they want, right? There's no way for us to really prove that, right? But you see, that's what the quantum does. It almost puts you back in this theological realm.
No,
and that's all I'm trying to explain to you guys, that you guys still have these mystical theories, this mystical understanding of the world.
Barth, they're not mystical. Barth, you're misusing the term theory. Barth, you are misusing the term theory. There is nothing mystical about a scientific theory. Just because you don't understand it is not our problem. If you want to understand it, go to school and learn it.
Okay, so in this scientific theory, we look at it, and it says, in circumstances not amenable to experiment testing, theories are evaluated through principles of abductive reasoning. Establishing scientific theories have withstood rigorous, strenuous, and embodied scientific knowledge. Okay, so you have this scientific knowledge, but you know that you have to have this abductive way of putting it because you can't observe it. So that's mystical, bro.
No. You're using Barth.
You're gonna have to tell a story, and you have to tell us.
You're using observe wrong. Observe in a scientific sense is to measure, not to see with one's eyes.
Yeah, and the measurement that I just explained to you within the quantum realm is just that second, that moment in time. It doesn't actually explain what goes on before we measure it or after. It's just that one.
Can I ask you a quick question?
That's because we're not there yet. It's a question mark. But that has nothing to do. That has nothing to do with the Big Bang cosmological model.
Hey, Barthologist Plus.
Can I ask you one quick question?
Peter has a question for you.
Can I ask one quick question? So, if you don't understand a particular model and you just put something in there that you feel comfortable with, does that make it real?
And I think that's what you guys are doing. I'm happy you brought that up. because there are things about this Big Bang theory that most people don't understand, and when you bring them,
but we're not putting in a God to explain it, whereas you do.
No, you can't. I'm not saying that where does God fit in this Big Bang theory. I'm just saying the Big Bang is it's just a model.
That's what I said. That is what I said.
Yeah,
if you don't understand a particular model, and you just replace it with something you feel comfortable with, does that make it real?
You know, what do you mean it doesn't make it real? I don't understand the question. That's why I really want to answer it, though. Does it make it real that I don't understand?
You don't understand the Big Bang model. So you
I understand it. I've read it.
Let me finish. Let me finish. I've waited a long time to ask one single question, so let me finish. You don't understand the Big Bang model. You just said so. So that's where you reject it all and say God did it.
Argument from incredulity.
Does that make it real?
Well, then I guess I could just snap that back to you guys. You guys don't believe in God. You believe in these scientific.
So you don't want to answer the question?
No, I'm just saying
want to answer the question.
I'm just saying that the both of us are in the same situation.
If you don't answer the question, I will have my answer to that question. Can't be honest enough to answer the question.
No, I'm saying that I feel like I'm in the same position as you guys. With
I asked you a question and you refuse to answer it. So we're not in the same position. We're not in the same position because if you ask us a question, we will answer it. We won't deflect. We won't ramble on about something completely different or accuse you of doing something that we don't do.
I don't know. Maybe you guys are used to talking to somebody else. I don't know why are you projecting me with somebody else here?
I think I asked a simple question. Does it make it real if you don't understand a particular model and you just put something in there that you feel comfortable with?
Yeah, everybody does that. Who doesn't do that? You don't do that?
No, not everybody does that.
Oh, okay. Well, when you go over your finances for the month and you're telling yourself that you want to pay everything on time, this and the other, things happen in life, Yeah, you have an answer, you have a story on how everything's going to go down, but then life happens, right? So what are you saying? You don't fill in the gaps when situations happen? You don't shift your plans.
I don't spend more than I have, and everything that I need to pay for at the end of the month, I pay in advance at the start of the month.
We're talking about a busted tire or something happened to your vehicle, or God forbid something happened to a family member.
Then I'll have to wait. Then I'll have to wait till next month, and if I don't have the money to fix it.
What the heck does this have to do? What the heck does this have to do with anything?
Yeah,
it has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
And I answered this question. I don't know why he's going on with it. It's just fine.
Barth, if you don't understand the model, go to school and learn it.
That's no. I understand the model.
You just said you didn't understand the cosmological model.
Puts us in the same. No, I can't understand it to be true, is what I'm saying.
Then you don't understand it.
Well, you're saying this model is true? You're saying this model is true?
Yes, this model comports with reality.
It's the best working model.
Novel testable predictions, dude.
But you're okay with another model coming out tomorrow and squishing this model?
No,
and then
with another with another model that improves what we know.
Well, what if it's nothing like the Big Bang? Because the one before the Big Bang had nothing to do with this. It was called the steady state model, and they scratched that out. Now it's the Big Bang.
As long as the evidence that we have currently still fits into the new model, it wouldn't be a problem. We can't discard the evidence that we have.
How do you educate yourself?
The only thing we can do is when new evidence comes in, revise the model that we have, as JL just said. And we could end up with a completely different model, but then it would still be a model based on the evidence that we have.
Okay. Which is still unknown.
So
not necessarily.
There is no other model, right? So there is no other model, and you guys are okay with this model because there is no other model. And you'll double down on this model and say it's true.
No, because
what other model would you propose?
Barth. If new evidence comes out that improves the reliability and predictability of the current model, then that is the model. Just because it changes it doesn't matter. It makes better and more accurate predictions and is more reliable than the previous model. That's it.
Exactly.
Well, then how come we can't measure? Then how come we can't measure from Earth to other galaxies? How come we don't know how far that is? How come it's so difficult?
We do know how far. We do know how far. We do know how far they are.
We're always expanding.
We've figured it out how far they are.
They just launched a new satellite with a new oh damn, I forgot the English
word. About the new telescope?
Yeah. So basically,
the new telescope.
This big bang.
The new telescope. The new telescope that is going to allow us to look further back into time. It will allow us to look further into the known universe. So new evidence will come in. I don't see the fact that you don't know that we can determine the distance of galaxies and determine how far they're away from us, and by that even how far we're looking back into time. The fact that you don't understand that doesn't mean that we can't do that.
Yeah, but you wouldn't even be able to explain it to me, let alone you're telling me that you understand it. So explain it.
Explain what?
We need to wrap this up pretty soon here, and there's one question.
Explain to me how we can measure.
Explain what? Give you a crash course in astrophysics?
Explain to you how you can measure, right? From Earth
triangulation
to another galaxy.
Triangulation.
Understanding light, understanding how light propagates. There's a lot of math inside. Like I said, what do you want? Do you want a crash course in astrophysics? Is that what you're looking for? I'm just going to say go to school.
Yeah, why didn't you pay attention in school? A lot of this would have been taught in just a rudimentary education. I don't see the problem.
I just don't, for me to give you a fact about the existence of God, but yet you to know new facts that you don't even know yet about the model that you believe in at this moment would lead me to believe that you're not going to be pleased with any evidence.
No one said anything. No one said anything like that.
Well, you're saying with your model right now, the model that you have right now could still be critiqued and tweaked with new information.
Yeah.
So how would you know that new information?
Because if new evidence comes in, if we find new ways, if we find new ways to collect more evidence, that means new evidence will come in. That will give us a better and more precise model. That will give us a better and more precise model.
How do you fact check the evidence?
So far, what we've been asking for you to do is to come up with some kind of evidence for your God. The fact that all you have done is trying to criticize current science, that doesn't help your God. I can go as far as even if tomorrow the Big Bang model is completely disproven, it still doesn't make your God real.
Yeah, Barth, you're making this weird argument like intellectual honesty is some sort of weakness when it's not.
Yeah.
Well, folks, I think we need to wrap things up here pretty quickly. Is there anything we need to finish off here?
Yeah, I got one person who wants to make one statement.
Yeah, is that Harris?
Canadian atheist. I mean, have you ever heard, and you're going to have to excuse me, folks, have you ever heard such a dumb fuck in your whole life?
Okay, so I think I've heard enough Darth Dawkins.
I've been waiting to use that just once.
So Barthologist Plus, I think what's happened is there's an idea about theories versus scientific theories. And what we're talking about when it comes to Big Bang or any kind of scientific stuff, the word theory is always meaning in the scientific sense, not in the colloquial sense. So the scientific sense, a theory is, my understanding is it is an explanation of how a number of facts work together, and it is one of the highest levels of understanding with the most certainty, the best understanding of how reality works, and it is very different from the colloquial sense of theory, where it's more like a guess. So with the scientific theory, the idea is that if new facts come along, that theory can be adapted to be in line with the facts. So the key word there is what seems to be the case. So that's kind of what we're working on from a scientific perspective. I hope that's helpful to you, and I appreciate you coming on and having a conversation.
No, thank you guys.
Now, Heroscos really wants to come on and ask one quick question. I told him 1 minute's the max. Are you guys okay with this?
Sure, why not?
Yeah, fine.
Heracles, welcome back. What's your question? As we get prepared to wrap up here.
Heroscos, you're on.
And it looks like that's the end of that. I'm going to... Yeah, he's popped out on his own. So anyway, it was a silent question, I guess. Thank you, everybody.
He has his hand. He has his hand back up, so it might be that he has just had a technical problem.
Got him. We'll bring him in. Okay. Hello. If you're talking, we can't hear you. What we'll do is we'll bring you on the next time. So as we're closing down here, I guess you guys want to have some final thoughts, each of you, before I say thank you to everybody for being here.
Sure.
Okay, I'll kick off. I think. Oh, yeah. I think we had an amazing lineup of guests. So I really enjoyed today, and I think we've had some good conversations. And what I love about this is that most of it was pretty cordial and respectful, and that's how I like to do things. So let's keep going and to do these things.
Thank you, Peter. JL Warren.
Yes. So hi, I'm JL Warren. For everybody in the audience, I run a YouTube channel called Bridge the Divide. The link is in my little avatar thing there if you want to come and check me out, where I do this stuff pretty much all the time with varying theist claims and examining the stuff that they have. So check me out there. Otherwise, you'll catch me here on these stages every other week. So I look forward to the next one. Thank you so much, Randolph, Peter, X. This has been a lot of fun.
Great. IX, did you have any final thoughts you wanted to share? IX might be away from the keyboard and microphone. So, again, thank you to everybody who's tuned in for this fortnightly program that we are running. And one fortnight, for those who aren't aware, means 2 weeks. And we hope to see most of you, if not all of you, 2 weeks from now. The links to everybody's channels are also available on the YouTube channel at youtube.com/Randolph Richardson. You'll find this program in there. Randolph is spelled with an F, by the way, Randolf. We live stream these, and you'll find a whole history of these shows in there. Thank you, everybody who participated today, came in from the audience to chat with us and challenge us. I know the conversations can be a little hard sometimes, but we really do appreciate the challenge. And to everybody who's in the chat on Discord and also in the live chat on YouTube, thank you for being here and participating and being a part of this and tuning into our program. We're really, really happy with the turnout. We hope everybody has a wonderful day. Take care.
And thank you, Randolph, for doing all the work and making sure that it goes out on YouTube as well.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Night, everyone.